all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I would like to gift my book, The Golden Key, Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance to you at goldenkey.gift, where you can get the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD at checkout. Greetings, positive heads. Welcome back. Here we grow again. I have a book sitting in front of me today that I've been reading from time to time, maybe once a month or so, twice a month, that I decided to pick up again. I love that I can, if I feel like a little bit of reading / story time, I can share it with you guys. It's nice to be able to do that. And this is a great book for it. If you've never heard me read from Destiny of Souls before by Michael Newton, really fascinating. Michael Newton, a doctor who was a master hypnotherapist for 40 years. He would take people through sessions, and he would take them into past lives, and then what happens after you pass from that life, and then just document. And he created such a fascinating work, group collection of sessions and analysis in both this book, Destiny of Souls, and the original Journey of Souls. They're go together sort of. And just really, he found so many parallels between people's different stories and perspectives on what was happening. And I just love it's great because I can just pick up and read a little bit about, what his perspectives are, taking a case, a particular case in hypnotherapy session where he's kind of asking questions and analyzing it a little bit. And it's pretty fascinating to think of us being, the game of life that you're currently in, right? You've got certain parameters, rules, things that you're trying to achieve, levels you're trying to unlock within yourself. And it's really a trip to think about that playing out on another level with your more expanded self, your higher self, right? And how far it goes in each direction, nobody knows, but there's a lot of consideration that source, God, higher self is infinite in all directions, right? And that's just wild. Our brains can't even hold the idea of infinity. There's actually a show on Netflix. I started watching a few minutes, a new documentary on Netflix. I think it's called Infinity or something, might have that in the name and the title. If you guys want to check it out, it's all about that very topic, exploring the concept of infinity and the implications, and pretty cool. So we're not the only ones thinking about this stuff. But this is definitely an angle of looking at things from, let's hear what you're seeing from beyond the veil, right? Or as the subtitle of the book, New Case Studies of Life Between Lives. So I'm going to just kind of pick up where I left off on the last time I did this, 2-3 weeks ago. And if you're interested in seeing or hearing more readings in the past, go to positivehead.com, search Journey of Souls or Destiny of Souls, and all the episodes where I've read, over the years, sporadically here and there, will show up. You can check them out, or you can get the books if you want to read yourself. You want to dive real deep. So where I left off last time was a section where he was about to address discarnates who visit Earth, spirits who come to Earth. And this is, once again, Michael Newton's book, Destiny of Souls. Discarnates who visit Earth. These are entities who travel to Earth as tourists and have never incarnated on our planet. Some are quite advanced, while others are maladepts. The character of these beings has been described to me as friendly, helpful, and peaceful, or distant, aggravating, and even contentious. For thousands of years, I believe they have been considered in our folklore as beings with the capacity to create both fear and enchantment. Our mythology alludes to the difference between light beings who are airy and whimsical and darker beings who are heavy with ugly temperaments. Some of these pre-Christian legends have spilled over into current religious beliefs of a light or dark tableau of grace or violence in the afterlife. Quite a number of my subjects have told me that between their lives on Earth, they travel as discarnates to other worlds, both in and out of our dimension. Some explain that they see other non-physical entities on these trips. This is why it has been surprising to me that only occasionally do I receive small amounts of information from my clients about encountering other light beings on Earth. My clients see them when they decide to visit Earth as discarnates themselves between lives. The reports are intriguing, as this next case illustrates. Case 17. And I'll inflect my voice as I kind of go between the doctor. Usually he's asking a question and then the subject who's, under hypnosis. Doctor asks, since you have described to me how much you enjoy traveling to both physical and mental worlds between your lives, I am curious what you know about other beings you might see when you come to Earth. They float through our reality here on Earth, just as I did in other dimensions. Do you know many souls who regularly incarnate on Earth that visit here like yourself? No, as a matter of fact, it's not all that common, but I like to come. Many of my friends enjoy a change in scenery between lives and stay away from Earth. When I come here, sometimes I see strange beings I don't know. What do they look like? Odd, strange shapes, wispy or dense, not human looking. Let's talk about this. You've told me of the ability souls have in the spirit world to project a human form. What do you and your friends look like as spirits on Earth? Oh, rather the same, but on a dense world such as Earth, we shift more on the physical side to add flavor to what we once were here. You mean you are in a more of a corporeal state? Yes, sort of. On worlds such as Earth, we are more defined around the edges. The way we outline a human body in a transparent fashion as soft, diffused light. In the spirit world, when we assume body features, say of a former life, we glow all over with full strength energy. Can a non-physical being, even in a diffused state, be visible to living inhabitants? Oh yes, but only certain people can see us as apparitions, and then not always. Why is that? It has to do with their level of receptivity, of perception, at certain moments when we are in their area. If you will, please put yourself in the position of a transparent light being on Earth and tell me what you do here. I want you to include any non-human spirits you see who have had no incarnation experiences on our planet. As visitors, we soar through the mountains and valleys, the cities and small towns. For us, there's a vicarious picking up of the energy of Earth's struggles. It's always interesting to bump into different kinds of beings who are also on tour here. They know Earth's inhabitants are afraid of us, and most of these beings would like to dispel the fear. Yet, those of us from Earth know we can't afford to get entangled with people's lives in any major way. Meaning that some beings from other worlds have no such reservations? Yes. I assume by entangled you mean interfering in someone's karmic path. Well, yes. But why not help people if you can? Look, we are not guides assigned to Earth. We are only visitors, as are the others we see here occasionally. It's a vacation trip for all of us. If we come across a condition going bad, we might take a moment to briefly turn ahead toward a better alternative path. We do get pleasure out of nudging people to act in their better interest rather than turning the wrong way. If you happen to be in the right place at the right time, right, to give a gentle push in the better direction at a crucial moment. No fixing of major trouble spots, you understand. Then you would be considered as good spirits, as opposed to what? To bad spirits who interfere with life forms for the pleasure of doing harm. Who told you this? There are no evil spirits, only inept ones, and those who are careless and indifferent. How about sad spirits, or ones who are disoriented, or playful spirits? Can't they cause harm? Oh yes, but it is not premeditated evil. Not all of us are in the same category, soaring around Earth on a lark. That's what I was getting at. I'm thinking of ghosts. These are spirits grounded here by their own volition. How about the spirits who are strangers to Earth? These are other spirits who travel interdimensionally who we consider to be maladepts. They do not seem to have any sensitivity to Earth. They are not knowledgeable about human beings. And can they cause problems for the living? Yes, sometimes, although it might be unintentional. They are not bad or evil, just clumsy, mischievous children. The younger light beings can get lost between and within dimensions. Their amusements distract them. We consider them as naughty youngsters. These pranksters think Earth is their playground when they can engage in devilish behavior with susceptible, gullible people and scare the hell out of them. They have a hilarious time before they are caught by one of the rovers, or tracker guides, sent to recapture these truants. Is this a common occurrence? Actually, I don't think so. They're like children who escape from the watchful eyes of parents once in a while. So you don't see malevolent spirits directed here by some demonic force? No. Sometimes we might run into a dark, heavy entity who is disoriented by the Earth sphere. This place is dense, but they come from places even more dense. Anyways, they want to cling to us because they don't know what they are doing. We call them the heavies because of their lack of mobility. What about the spirits you spoke of who are just indifferent to people on Earth? Yeah, they can scare people. This is because some of them have a disruptive nature. They are not considerate. Bulls in a china shop? Yeah, no adaptation to local customs. And in these cases, with different types of spirits who might be aggravating to the people here, do you try to intervene in some way? Yes, if we come across them acting like rogues, we put a stop to it and try and push them away. This is very infrequent. Most out-of-worlders are serious and respectful. I want to stress that we are not philanthropists. This is our recreation time, and we want to be free of responsibility. Okay then, why would an inept spirit of any sort come to Earth for whatever reason and be allowed to cause trouble, even inadvertently, for the people living here? Do their guides lack good parenting skills? Well, too much monitoring makes for dull children. If they were on a tight leash, how would they learn? They are not going to be allowed to destroy or do great harm. One last question. Do you think that all the kinds of spirits we have been talking about exist in large numbers swarming all over Earth? Not at all. Compared to Earth's population, only a tiny fraction. Judging by my own experience here, there are times when only a few around, and I may not see them all at all. It is not a constant thing. It is more cyclic. There is a mystery to that which isn't invisible to the living, when only our senses tell us something is here. I wonder if spiritual travelers don't engender memories within us of recognition of what we once were and will be again. Okay, so that is the end of that particular session. Now the next section he's going to talk about is, this is interesting. Okay, demons or divas. D-E-V-A-S, spelled D-E-V-A-S, yeah. I think it is fitting that as I close this chapter with a summary of some misconceptions we have about the existence of evil spirits, good spirits, and spiritual influences on Earth. If I step rather heavily on any pet theories of the reader, please understand that my statements come from the reports of many hypnosis subjects in my practice. These subjects do not see the devil or demonic spirits floating around Earth. What they do feel when they are spirits is an abundance of negative human energy exuding the intense emotions of anger, hate, and fear. These disruptive thought patterns are attracted to the consciousness of other negative thinkers who collect and disseminate even more disharmony. All this dark energy in the air works to the detriment of positive wisdom on Earth. The ancients thought demons were flying beings who occupied the regions between heaven and earth and were not particularly wicked. The early Christian church elevated demons to the status of evil rulers of darkness. As fallen angels, they were able to disguise themselves as messengers of God rather than Satan in order to deceive humans. I think it is fair to say that within the more liberal religious communities today, demons represent our own inner misguided passions that can get us into trouble. In all my years of working with souls, never once have I had a subject who was possessed by another spirit, unfriendly or otherwise. When I made this statement at one lecture, a man raised his head and said, "That is all very well, oh great guru, but until you have placed everyone in the world under hypnosis, don't tell me about the absence of demonic forces." Of course, this is a valid argument against my hypothesis that such thing as soul possession, evil demons, the devil, and hell don't exist. Nevertheless, I can come to no other conclusion when all of my subjects, even those who came to me with conscious beliefs in demonic forces, reject the existence of such beings when they see themselves as spirits. Once in a while, a client comes to me convinced they have been possessed by an alien entity or some sort of malevolent spirit. I have had other clients who believe an evil curse has been placed upon them from some past life behavior. As my hypnosis regression session moves into the superconscious mind of these people, typically we find one of three conditions. One, almost always, the fear proves to be absolutely groundless. Two, occasionally a friendly spirit, often a dead relative, has been trying to reach them. My distraught client has misinterpreted the intent of the spirit who only wished to bring comfort and love. There has been miscommunication between the sender and receiver. Souls have little trouble with telepathy between themselves, but this does not mean all souls are adept communicators with incarnated people. Three, very rarely, a disturbed, inept spirit has made contact because of some unresolved karmic issues they have on Earth. We saw this in case 14. Researchers into the paranormal have come up with three more reasons, which ought to be added to my own, as to why certain people believe they have been possessed by a demon. Emotional and physical abuse as a child, which creates feelings that the adult abuser represents an evil power who has total control. 5, multiple personality disorder. 6, periodic increases in the actions of electromagnetic fields around the Earth, which are sufficient enough to disrupt brain activity in a disturbed individual. The possibility that people can be possessed by a satanic being comes right out of medieval belief systems. It is fear-based and the result of theological superstition that has ruined countless lives over the last thousand years. Much of this nonsense has dissipated in the last 200 years, but it lingers with the fundamentalists. The exorcism of demons is still practiced by some religious groups. Frequently, I find that clients who come to me with concerns about possession have lives which seem to be out of their control and filled with a variety of personal obsessions and compulsions. People who hear voices commanding them to do bad things are likely to be schizophrenic. They are not possessed. Our physical world may have unhappy or mischievous spirits floating around, but they do not lock in and inhabit the minds of people. The spirit world is much too ordered to allow for such muddled soul activity. Being possessed by another being would not only abrogate our life contract, but destroy free will. These factors form the foundation of reincarnation and cannot be compromised. The idea that satanic entities exist as outside forces to confuse and subvert people is a myth perpetuated by those who seek to control the minds of others for their own ends. Evil exists internally, initiated within the confines of the deranged human mind. Life can be cruel, but it is of our making here on this planet. Assuming that we are born evil or that some external force has occupied the mind of an evil person makes malevolence easier for some people to accept. It is a way of rationalizing premeditated cruelty, preserving our humanity, and absolving ourselves of responsibility individually and collectively as a race. When we see cases of serial killers or those of children who kill other children, we might label these people as either born killers or under outside demonic influences. This saves us the trouble of finding out why these murderers enjoy inflicting pain by acting out their own pain. There are no soul monsters. People are not born evil. Rather, they are corrupted by the society in which they live, where practicing evil satisfies the cravings of depraved personalities. This emanates from the human brain. Studies of the psychopath have shown that the excitement of inflicting pain on others without remorse satisfies an emptiness they feel within themselves. Practicing evil is a source of power, strength, and control for inadequate people. Hate takes away the reality of a hateful life. The warped minds of these executioners tell them, if life is not worth living for me, why not take it away from somebody else? Evil is not genetic, although if a family has a history of violence and cruelty to their children, these acts are often passed on from one generation to the next as learned behavior. Violence and dysfunctional behavior from one adult member of a family is an internal emotional reaction that spills over to contaminate other younger members. This can lead to compulsive and destructive behavior from children of that family. How do these genetic and environmental disruptions to the body affect our soul? What I have found in my practice is that a soul's energy force may, during troubled times, disassociate from the body. There are those who feel they don't even belong to their bodies. If conditions are severe enough, these souls are prone to thoughts of suicide, but usually not taking the life of another. I will have more to say about this condition in upcoming chapters. Part of this turmoil stems from conflict between souls, a mortal character meshed to the temperament of a host brain with all its genetic baggage. There may also be influences of abnormal brain chemistry and hormonal imbalances affecting the central nervous system that might contaminate the soul. Another element I find is that immature souls often have difficulties handling the poor mental circuitry of disturbed human beings. There's a counteraction of the soul self versus the human self. A push-me-pull-you force is struggling to present a single ego to the world and not doing very well in the process. These are internal, not external forces at work. A disturbed mind does not need an exorcist, but a competent mental health therapist. Souls don't represent all that is pure and good about a body, or they wouldn't be incarnating for personal development. Souls come to Earth to work on their own shortcomings. In terms of self-discovery, a soul may choose to act in conjunction with or in opposition to its own character in the selection of a human body. As an example, a soul combating tendencies towards selfishness and indulgence might not mix well with a human ego whose emotional temperament is disposed to engaging in hostile acts for self-gratification. Quite often, troubled people have suffered painful environmental trauma, such as physical and emotional abuse as children. They have either internalized themselves, creating a shell to hide behind their pain, or externalized by mentally moving outside their bodies on a regular basis. These defense mechanisms are a means of survival to preserve our sanity. When a client tells me that they love to tune out and practice astral projection because the out-of-body experiences make them feel more alive, I look for disturbances. Indeed, I may not find anything other than curiosity, but an obsession with being away from the body indicates a desire to escape from current reality. It is perhaps for this reason I am troubled by the walk-in theory as another escape mechanism. I believe the whole idea of walk-ins to be a false concept. According to the proponents of this theory, tens of thousands of souls now on this planet came directly into their physical body without going through the normal process of birth and childhood. We are told that these possessing souls are enlightened beings who are permitted to take over the adult body of a soul who wants to check out early because life has become too difficult. Therefore, the walk-in soul is actually performing a humanitarian act. According to devotees of this theory, I call this possession by permission. If this theory is true, then I must turn in my great guru white robe and gold medallion. Not once in all my years of working with subjects in regression have I ever had a walk-in soul. Also, these people have never heard of any other soul in the spirit world associated with such practices. In fact, they deny the existence of this act because it would abrogate a soul's life contract. To give another soul permission to come in and take over your karmic life plan defeats the whole purpose of your coming to Earth in the first place. It is deluded reasoning to assume that the walk-in would wish to complete their own karmic cycles in a body originally selected and assigned to someone else. If I am a senior in a high school trigonometry class, would I leave my class and go down the hall to a freshman algebra class where a student is struggling with an exam and tell him I'll finish the exam for him so he can leave early? This is a lose-lose situation for both students, and what teacher would permit it? The whole walk-in theory is like suicide, although it is supposed to combat suicide by allowing the walkout soul to escape responsibility for straightening out their life. The walkout soul relinquishes ownership of its host body so a more advanced spirit who does not want to go to all the trouble of being in a child's body can take over. This is one of the major flaws of possession by permission. From everything I have learned about body assignments, it takes years for a soul to fully meld its energy vibrations with that of a host brain. The process begins when the baby is in a fetal state. All the essential elements of who we really are come from the soul assigned to a specific body from the beginning. Consider first the three I's emanating from the soul: imagination, intuition, and insight. Then add such components as conscience and creativity. Do you think the adult human mind is not going to recognize the loss of its partner self to a new presence? Now, that would drive a host body insane as opposed to healing it. I tell people not to worry about losing their soul. It's with us for the duration because there are good reasons for having the particular body you occupy. Souls take their responsibility very seriously, even to the extent of being inside non-functional bodies. They are not materially trapped. For instance, a soul may inhabit a comatose host body for many years and not abandoned until death. These souls are able to roam freely across the land, visiting other souls who might be making brief trips away from their bodies during normal sleep states. This is especially true of souls in the bodies of babies. Souls are very respectful of their host body assignments, even if they are bored. They leave a small portion of their energy so they can return quickly if needed. Their wavelengths are like homing beacons who have fingerprinted their human partners. When a soul's energy does leave the human body, this does not provide an opportunity for some demonic being to rapidly move in and occupy a vacant mind. This is another superstition. Aside from the non-existence of such demonic beings in the first place, the mind is never completely vacant of a traveling soul's energy. A malevolent entity would be unable to squeeze in, even if it did exist. Evidently, residents of the spirit world are quite aware of our enthrallment with dark and nefarious specters who pose a danger to the soul. I have a most unusual and defining case which brought this to my attention. The ironic engagement of demonology employed in case 18 by my subject's teacher toward his hapless student is outrageous and unconventional but effective. This case illustrates how the almost brutal use of humor can be graphically applied in the spirit world to define our shortcomings on earth. Case 18 concerns the death experience of an evangelical preacher of the 1920s. This man had spent a lifetime seeing the devil in every nook and cranny of his town in the deep south. During my review of this life with the client who carried these memories, I was told, my parishioners were shaken to their bones with my fiery sermons of the hell awaiting all sinful transgressors. I will begin this case with a scene as it unfolded right after my subject reached the gateway. Okay, let's read this case. You say that although things are not too clear, you are floating in a bright light and someone is coming toward you? I am kind of disoriented. I've gotten used to things around here yet. I haven't gotten used to things around here yet. That's fine. Just take your time and let the figure float toward you as you float toward it. Long pause, then a horrified exclamation. Oh, God, no. What's going on? Oh, Lord Almighty, it's the devil. I knew it. I've gone to hell. Now take a deep breath and try to relax as we go through this together. You are not in hell. Oh, yeah? Then why do I see the devil right in front of me? The subject's face covered in sweat. Try to calm yourself. There's some misinterpretation here, and we will find it soon. He then begins to moan and rock back and forth. Oh, no, it's over for me. I'm in hell. Tell me exactly what you see. A being, demonic, reddish green face, horns, wild-eyed, fangs. The facial skin is like charred wood. Oh, sweet Jesus, why me of all people who spoke so much in your name? What else do you see? What else is there to see? Can't you understand? I'm in front of the devil. I meant the rest of the body. Look below the head and tell me what you see. With a violent shudder. Nothing. Just the wispy, ghost-like body. Stay with me. Doesn't this seem unusual to you, that the devil would appear with no body? Move forward in time rapidly now and tell me what this figure does. The subject's body jerks violently, and then with a great sigh of relief, he sags back into his chair. He sags back into his chair. Oh, that bastard. I might have known. It's Scanlon. He has taken his mask off and smiling wickedly at me. Who is Scanlon? My guide. This is the crude idea of a joke. What does Scanlon really look like now? Tall, aquiline features, gray hair, full of mischief making, as usual. He laughs with bravado, but still not fully recovered. I should have known. He caught me unaware this time. I have to pause for a second. I love reading this one because my own father is been so religious his whole life, super conservative Christian. You guys have probably heard me talk about him, and he's so scared of hell. And, kind of like this guy was. And so I literally for a decade have been making a joke how when he passes, since time doesn't exist, I'll be there too. And I'm going to dress up like the devil to scare him, or just mess with him, And I made jokes about this forever. So this is really funny reading this for me right now. Okay, going on. Apparently I'm not the only one with this idea. Okay. Does Scanlon make a habit of this sort of thing? Why frighten you just as you were coming into the spirit world a little disoriented? Listen, he's a great teacher. That's his way. He has got our whole group using masks, but he knows I don't like them much. Tell me why Scanlon used a devil's mask to scare you right after this life. Talk to him now. I had it coming. Oh, I know it. I spent a lifetime preaching about the devil, scaring good people, telling them they were going to hell if they didn't pay attention to me. Scanlon gave me a dose of my own medicine. And how do you feel about his method? Feel now about his methods? He made his point. I want to ask you a blunt question. Do you really believe what you told your parishioners about seeing demonic forces everywhere, or were you motivated by something else? No, I believed what I was saying about evil being everywhere in every person. I was not a hypocrite. Are you sure it wasn't false piety? You did not pretend to feel and be what you were not? No, I believed it. My undoing was my method of preaching and the love of the power over others that this ability gave me. Yes, I admit that failing, I made life miserable for some of my flock, not seeing the essential goodness in people. I was always suspicious because of my obsession with evil, and this corrupted me. Do you feel part of what you became was the result of the body you chose in this life? Yes, I lacked restraint. I chose a body with a feisty mind and allowed myself to be swept away. I was too confrontational as a preacher. And do you know why your soul mind chose to enter into this partnership in the body of a preacher who constantly intimidated people? Oh, I let it happen because it felt good to be in control. I was afraid of not being taken seriously enough. You were worried about the loss of control? Yeah, that I would be inadequate. By his use of a devil's mask, do you think Scanlon demeans what you stood for in the church? No, that's my teacher's way. I chose the body of a minister and he helped me with all this. I took a wrong turn. It was not the wrong path. My faith was not a bad thing, but I became misguided and misguided others. Scanlon wants me to see what it feels like to scare people rather than reason with them. He wanted me to feel the same fear that I gave to others. Note, I now move my subject into a group setting to learn more about how Scanlon teaches his students through the use of masks. Who is the first person who comes to you? It's an angel. Soft glowing white, wings. Okay, I'm on to all of you. Enough. Who is this angel? My dear friend Diane. She has removed her angel's mask and is laughing and hugging me. I'm a little confused. Souls can assume any shape or create any features they want. Why bother with masks? The mask is similar to a figure of speech, a symbol one can hold and the hand to put on and pull off for effect. Diane is offsetting Scanlon's huge joke by being a loving angel for me, while the others are laughing at what happened to me. What kind of individual is Diane? Very loving and full of humor. She likes practical jokes, as does most of my group. They all know I take things too seriously. I don't like the masks very much, so they tease me. During your lessons, are masks used as means of teaching about right and wrong behavior? Yes, they are a means of acknowledgement of good or poor thinking, misconceptions. They identify aspects of our character which are positive and those which are undesirable, and we can role play with each other. Did Scanlon originate the use of this sort of prop for your group lessons? Yes, and what he does makes an impression. That's the end of it. This was a strange case, and I'll admit Scanlon had me going for a few minutes when I thought this client was taking me to a place no other had before. The treatment this subject received at the gateway by the use of a devil mask is an anomaly. Moreover, I have never encountered a guide whose behavior had such extravagance and provocation. In the chapters ahead, we will see how drama plays an important part in soul group activity. The use of masks by Scanlon's group as a symbolic gesture to embody a belief system is rather unique in my experience. Masks do have a long tradition in our cultural life, which personification of divine and demonic powers have been used to mock spirits which are feared and honor those spirits that are venerated. The devil masks has a history of tribal exorcism toward a harmful spirit. Case 18 is one where mythical spiritual practices were taken from Earth by a soul group director to serve as a wake-up call for his students. Okay, that was kind of went long there, but I wanted to get to the end. What a trip. That's like, this unusual case is exactly what I have told my dad, teased my dad forever that I'm going to do. I always was like, okay, you're going to, first when you cross over, there's going to be a long pathway with trees. And you're going to see, like in the cartoons, the twinkle toes, like when they're walking, like, with their little twing. I can picture it well in my head. Maybe you can picture it in yours. But the devil going between each tree across the path. You know, my dad like scarily like watching as he comes down the path, hiding between trees, or me doing it, you know. So literally I've played this thing out like it's so funny to hear that being used. And I think it really, this is an interesting one for me because, you know, you guys have heard me talk about my own child's mother and sort of the darkness around her, and how, you know, Shaman Durek, a former guest on the show, talked about possession and that whole thing. So, you know, it's really interesting to hear now Michael Newton's perspective, you know, from these case studies on possession, or that there's no such thing. So it's very interesting to consider, you know, and no matter what's going on, at some level, it is tied back to there's. I certainly agree with it's. You can't like kind of blame it on some outside force that you're not connected to. That isn't an extension of you in some way. So really, this one hits home a lot for me. These, you know, two different things I've pondered a lot because of my own family, right? So hope it was good for you as well. I do have a song to leave you guys with. This song is called Distilled, and it is by the artist Edamame. Until next time, journey well. Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.